Hello friends, welcome back to the video series on Oracle PL SQL programming. In this video, we would discuss on the Oracle SQL functions. When we are fetching or retrieving the data at the same time, we are busy with the manipulation of the data. At this situation, we may think about the Oracle SQL functions. Functions perform some specific tasks. Functions accepts values through parameters and functions return the processed value. Basically, functions are used for some specific task. But here we are working with some predefined functions. So they are limited with their own functionality and return would be according to the way. So when we are supplying some values to the function, that can be done through the parameters. Now the data passed through the parameters would be processed by the assigned task by the function and then it would return the processed data. In the processing of the function, we can use another function, may or may not, but when using it may accelerate the process of functions. The function we call inside a function is called as inner function, and obviously in which function we are calling the inner function is known as the outer function. That would be checked during the implementation of the functions. Now, the classification of functions. We can classify the function into two major types, single row function and multi-row function. Single row function works on each row or record in a table and returns a one record on the processed data. That is, when a table contains 20 records or rows, when this function is applied, it would work on each of the 20 records and return result for each record. So the output would be obviously 20 rows if there are 20 records in the table. Now the multi-row function is practically applied on the multiple rows or records of any table, but when returning the result, it returns only a single value. That is, suppose we are working to find the total salary for each employee. So total function would take the salaries from multiple rows but return the single value. However, we would discuss at the moment only with the single row function. Now, the classification of single row functions. Character functions, number functions, date functions, conversion functions, and the general functions. Now, based on the types of operations performing by the function, they can be classified into these types of functions, that is character, number, date, conversion, and general. Character function, as the name suggests, is working on the data types of varchar, varchar2, char, etc. That is character type datas. If we want to work on the numerical data values, we must use the number functions to manipulate data. When date function is used, we are dealing with the date and time particularly. Now, conversion function is interesting. Suppose we want to convert any date type value to any numerical value. Conversion function is making the sense here. So, conversion function is particularly for the typecasting. Finally, the general functions deal with the null values. Suppose we want to concatenate the first name and last name, but if any value of them is null, it would return the null. But if we want to substitute the null value with some value, then these general functions would process the job as required. From the next videos, we would discuss separately on the character, number, date, conversion, and the general functions.